Welcome, my beautiful souls, and welcome, my beautiful Cancers. This is a special reading for you. This is about soulmates, soulmate union. So, if you've been wondering, do I have a soulmate out there? And I am talking romantic. I'm talking true love because I'm not looking for just any old soulmate for you. I want to find that soulmate that's going to be with you for the rest of your life. So what we're going to do is we're going to go straight to our spirit guides and we're going to ask six specific questions using different decks to answer them along with my intuition. Um, I feel like I just love these readings. I just love them, and I hope you do too. So let me explain what we're going to do. We're going to use the major arcanas. Actually, let me shuffle while I'm doing that. And the major arcanas will answer the last question, and that will be what energy is connecting the two of you. I just want to have them ready. We will use the psychic tarot for answering the main question. Let me give them a shuffle and a cut. This is just to make sure everything is ready. Really, why I do this, well, two different reasons. I do it for you, so that you can see that the cards are shuffled, but I also do it as a symbol to my guides that I am ready, I am open, I am the messenger, and I'm open to hearing whatever your guides want to talk about. So we have all those ready. Um, but we will open the reading with Mother Mary. Just get any words of wisdom that you may need to hear. So, what I'm going to ask is your soulmate's subconscious thoughts about you right now. And I say subconscious, they could be conscious also if you've loved in this lifetime. But I have been finding that probably, let's say, out of 9 readings, 7 spoke about past lives. So I'm not surprised. Soulmates, you're connected. You're connected for eternity. And I do find that for many, not for everyone, that ultimate soulmate, the one that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, I feel like it comes, well, number one, in a very unexpected way. But isn't that love? But number two, I feel our souls have come down here to learn, to grow, to expand. And that comes through lessons, adventures, taking chances, that type of thing. But once you've reached a certain level, your vibration, and I know many of you, you're working on your spirituality daily. I know that you live within it. And I'm just so proud of you, as are your guides, by the way. And, when you're open and when we do a reading, that's really what I would ask of you. Have just let your intuition guide you. Let your guides guide you. They'll give you signs. Interesting. In the last reading I did, there was a pink flamingo, which I kept thinking, I was looking at it and I'm like, that must symbolize something. And I held it up to the computer and I said, but I can't think of what it is. Well, then someone left a message, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, but left a message that was what they asked their spirit guides to give them a sign of confirmation, and they chose a pink flamingo. So, you know, I know how our guides work. I does that surprise me? No. Do I love it? Yes. So just go in open. And by the way, I'm not looking for let's say if this is someone that you've loved in this lifetime, but they were abusive or they were a narcissist or they ghosted you. That is not what I'm looking for. Those were probably lessons to help your soul grow. Sometimes the lesson is simply, I now know what I don't want in love. And something else I want you to keep in mind as you yourself raise your vibration, well, through the law of attraction, that's what must vibrate back. So think about that. Think about the intentions you're putting out there, even if you have no clue. And that, again, is usually how love works. But just being open. You can always say no. You can always say no. That's your free will. But if you are looking for love, and I have a feeling if that's why you'd be here, um, know your guides know that. And again, I'm just an open vessel for them. So, with all that being said, I was going to tell you the questions, but we'll go through that as we go along. I'm going to bring the lid down. I am going to start with Mother Mary. Oh, so for the main questions, I'm going to use the Psychic Tarot, a deck I really love for you. We'll use the Crystal Vision above and the Gilded Tarot below. I have the Cosmic Tarot ready, in case we want to go back and clarify anything. And then I also have the Romance Angels ready. Um, if we feel called to them, chances are we will. So, Cancer. By the way, this is for Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. I know many of you are intuitively guided now. Well, I say now, you've always been, but many of you are like truly listening to your intuition. And what I mean by that is sometimes a reading will be put in front of you. And at first you may be like, I don't think so, or I don't have cancer in my chart that I know of. But then something makes you go back and click on the video, and then it resonates with you. That is your spirit guides. We need to, I feel like the more we learn to trust in the signs, um, because the signs are constantly being sent, I feel like the easier life becomes, if that makes sense. All right, so Mother Mary, for my beautiful cancers, I was just going to say also, some of you could be in love with a cancer. Same thing, your guides know you're here. So be open to receiving messages yourself. All right, I'm not going to talk anymore. Mary, beautiful cancers. Mm, action, action. That's good. That's a good thing. I feel like get ready to take some action. Let's see what it says. Today, I take action related to the priorities that I have previously put off. Action. And, we'll know why this is in the reading, because the reading always relates back to what Mother Mary opens the reading with. So we'll put that right there. And just take a moment. Let's just calm our mind. And the rest will follow. Okay. Number one, your soulmate's subconscious thoughts about you right now. Three of Swords. Interesting. Like they feel your heart is broken. They feel like you've lost. You may have lost someone. It's interesting because I don't feel like they caused it. All right, let's go above. Interesting. The Eight of Swords. Okay, so I feel like your soulmate feels And again, you may not know who this person is, but you're soul connected, even telepathically. Um, I feel like they're feeling that you're a little afraid to give your heart again. The Three of Swords. I don't know why, but I feel, could you have had your heart broken 3 times and now you've built up some walls? This is how they're looking at it. This is their perspective. But the Eight of Swords, that's that self-created prison. It is an 8. So it is about a new beginning. But it's interesting because I feel that they feel that maybe your heart, or you feel your heart's not ready. Let's see what comes below it. Well, hello, Ten of Cups. Interesting. House of Love, House of Harmony, Joy, Laughter. I can tell you this, the Eight of Swords and the Three of Swords aren't in this house. It's almost like they're saying, I know I can offer them the Ten of Cups, but in the Eight of Swords, these walls are really your prison. These walls are created to protect oneself. That's what we tell ourselves. This is more of a human action than a spiritual action. Because on a spiritual level, you know, like I want to say, well, I feel like there's a sense of I've got to understand that not everyone is like everyone before, especially if I myself have raised my vibration. Then again, the universe meeting that vibration. So right now, the self created prison, whoever created it is the only one who can uncreate it. But then it's freedom. It's freedom. I feel this can also talk about maybe there's not trust within your intuition. You could have been drawn to, let's just say, lower vibrational energy. And it could be from like back in the day. I feel like that's part of our soul's journey is learning how to love. But also, understanding that if someone isn't giving me, let's say, the respect I deserve, the love I deserve, then I have to figure out how to move on from that, how to clear their energy, because it does look like past energy is affecting your present moment. Now, this is their perspective, but because they're soul connected, I feel like they know. They know. So, in a way, it's kind of resistance, like sending resistance out into the universe. Yet, I feel like what they're saying is, I, we could create the Ten of Cups together. 8 plus 3, 11. Some of you, twin flames. So if that's the case, you definitely can feel each other's energy. And this could be sending energy out where you don't mean it, but it's like saying, I don't want love. And again, that is your choice. Yet they're picking that up. And they don't, I feel like it's not that they pick up the exactly what you're going through. It's the energy they're feeling. So that could come across as resistance to them also. Now, I also want you to realize that this could go either way. And what I mean about that is this could be your perspective on them. But I don't know. I just feel it's theirs. So it is about uncreating that prison. breaking oneself free. You know, the Eight of Swords doesn't do us any favors. It certainly doesn't protect us. Our intuition is what protects us, like energy. And in the Eight of Swords energy, it's very hard to feel your intuitive guidance. Now, you have every right to say, I don't want love. I've had enough of it. But what if the perfect person shows up? And I want to remind you, love is just unexpected. I don't think you can plan it. You know, and because we have an 11, which does remind me of twin flames, you know, there could have been something of a past lifetime also. But this 10 of Cups, I definitely feel like this is what could be. All right, let's take that question and now we're going to reverse it. And this is going to be your subconscious or conscious thoughts of them, or on love, victory, and success. You know what I feel like? I feel that for some of you, you have given up on love for a little while. But yet, at the same time, look at this person. It's like they're looking over their grounds with this sense of pride. Like at everything I have grown. And it doesn't have to mean material, even though it does say material and spiritual prosperity. This is the energy of victory and success. And some of you, I feel like that's where you turned your energy to. And that's not a bad thing, you know, because this is you coming out victorious. Ace of Swords. Look at those beautiful roses climbing up that sword. So I use the Ace of Swords in certain types of reading as, you know, I have my no and my yes cards. This is my yes card. This is also potential communication, but this would be truthful communication. And because we can see the roses, we know it's love. Oh my gosh. Well, there you go. Look how quickly the soulmates came out for you. I would say you are the first reading in this series where the soulmates have come out so quickly. But here they are. And by the way, they're mirroring the Ace of Swords. This is love. And just look at them. They're looking at each other's, looking into each other's eyes. The mirror of our souls. The recognition. You know, I may not know right away. Though, in a way, I feel like when you meet a soulmate, there is this certain feeling that you have. Yeah, it's almost undeniable. And it's coming under the energy of victory and success. But I feel like what this is talking about, number one, it is soulmates. And I love that it's sitting next to the Ten of Cups. I feel like that is definitely the potential. And then the Ace of Swords. Well, someone could reach out of the blue and communicate with you. And I have to say, I feel that this is the way the readings have been going, is like more through like a communication. But then, you know, I have to keep in mind like social media. So this communication can be someone who like is on your Facebook page, or maybe you don't know that is following you. And I don't mean that in a creepy way. We go from the 3 to the 6. We go from heartache to victory. And I do know for some of you, like you turned your attention. It's like I closed my heart down. I don't want love, right? I've been through it. I'm tired of it. I've had my heart broken over and over. But then again, I feel like, but I also want you to think about where your vibration was at because of the law of attraction. You're like, here, am I in a way blocking love? Do I think it stops it? I don't, because this is probably a destined time for it. I mean, just that it came out so quickly, and this being my yes card, and you sitting here within this victory. And yes, I do feel like for some of you, you've had a lot of material growth, but I feel more it's about your spiritual growth. So I want to say be careful that you don't allow past people who maybe didn't know how to love, or weren't ready to love, that type of thing. This doesn't feel like it has anything to do with that. This feels more like when you're open, well, so is divine. Like when you're ready. Though I still get the sense, ready or not, here I come. Ready or not, here I come. All right, well, let's keep going. And we probably will come back and clarify that. But I have to say, I love that you have the Ten of Cups sitting right next to the soulmate energy. And for some of you, twin flame, which is really a form of a soulmate. So let's go to the next question. 2025's potential of the two of you coming together, meeting, whatever it may be, whether it's just conversation as it begins. Um, and again, I would expect the unexpected. I just get this sense that there's going to be this energy, well, someone who I feel like is going to reach out. And I feel like they're going to let you know pretty quickly. Like this feels like love at first sight. That's what I feel. Like love at first sight, even if I'm afraid, right? This is why we go through these 9-year cycles so that we can look back, see, what have I learned in these last 9 years? Have I grown? Many, I know you have. Um, but also, am I allowing past energy to predict what my future will be? There's nothing wrong with taking time out. Not at all, because I don't feel like it was wasted time. I feel like you turned your attention to something else and became successful or becoming successful. But let's face it, your soulmate's coming in soon. All right, so anyways, 2025's potential. Oh my gosh, look at this. Cancer. This is the Ace of Pentacles. And by the way, these are two different hands nurturing the same seed. Two different hands, same seed. Ace of Pentacles means it's coming into your physical world. It comes as a seed, and it does need nurturing for it to grow and blossom. Looks like a peach tree. Reminded me of Georgia. Georgia's on my mind. No, that's not how that song goes. But anyways, look at that. It's relating right back to the soulmates for me. For you. So, we're looking about 2025. and the potential of this coming together in this year. This would tell you yes, without doubt. So, yes, we have communication, the potential of communication, but then someone physically coming into your world. True. I love that. We have beautiful, your major arcana. So let's talk about your major arcana. I feel like we all need to know, what does our major arcana mean? What does it mean for Cancer? Well, it means that for you to feel, let's say, good. I don't know. There's another word I was thinking of, but it requires balance. What I love about this, it's the balance of the feminine and the masculine, the light and the dark. We have the dark, but now we have the light. And then it becomes unlimited potential. Some of you, I'm telling you, it's going to be love at first sight, or just the sound of their voice. So, this is connecting you directly to this ace. Actually, two aces. Then we have the Hangman. Slow down, you move too fast. I feel like the Hangman, first of all, the Hangman is really seeking wisdom, spiritual wisdom, to use on this earthly plane. But this can also be a pause in the action. If you are seeking spiritual wisdom and maybe even putting out like I'm only going to accept love of the highest form. But then I have to be able to match that. Keep that in mind. Like I need to be what it is I want. Or that's the best way of receiving it, actually. So the Hangman, potentially a pause. Maybe it's about taking it slow, even if it's love at first sight. Why? Because I feel, I get the sense as this starts to come towards you, this Eight of Swords and this Three of Swords starts to fade away. So this is coming towards you. The past is fading away. And I feel like that's exactly what needs to happen here. I literally feel like there is old energy that's still within your thought system that is kind of, in a way, like I feel some of you saying like no to love. Yet at the same time, this is unexpected. This is coming in 2025, and we only have a couple months left. So I feel like what this is saying is just go ahead and take it slow. There's nothing wrong with that. I could even see you, as this starts to move towards you, asking your spirit guides, is this my person? I feel like number one, you would feel it, but sometimes that's hard to trust. So go to your guides, ask them. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm talking to your guides. My guides and your guides are doing this reading together for us. These aces surrounding your major arcana. Okay, let's go to the next one. Did we love here or in a past life together? And I keep thinking I want to change that question. But maybe the next go around. Look at this. The Nine of Cups. This is inner harmony. Well, that's exactly what a soulmate does for you. You know, I read all of your comments and I take them to heart. Like, I really do take them to heart. And I know some have had loss, like they actually lost someone that they love. I mean, they crossed over. But I feel every fiber of my being that they then become one of our strongest spirit guides. And often, and I know this just from doing so many personal readings, they send in a soulmate. So I do feel like that's for some. Now, this inner harmony, it is like attracting like. But that's not all it is. If you read the bottom, fulfillment of wishes. Sometimes I didn't even know I had that wish. Look at that. Another peach. There's something with peaches. So at this moment, the Three of Swords mirroring the Nine of Cups, they don't go together, right? They don't go together. So this is you as we move along, finding this inner harmony. Maybe just knowing that past people are affecting your present and then your potential future. Well, I don't want that. That's why I gotta let it fade away. I've had people say, well, I've been ghosted, or I don't think it's going to happen because they ghosted me, or this or that. This is not the type of love I'm talking about. I don't feel in this type of energy. I feel like that's what the Eight of Swords and the Three of Swords is that type of energy. People who ghost us, or um, people who just didn't know, probably didn't know how to love themselves. And therefore, anyone with them is going to go through the same thing. I do feel this sense, like the importance of the realization of that. If nothing else, the importance to understand that this self created prison isn't really protecting you. Truly, it is your intuition. When what I want you to think about is your intuition is like your energetic force, right? It protects you. So, as anything comes toward you, if there's red flags, you'll know it. It reminds me of like the Empress. You know, if lower vibration comes towards her, well, she knows it immediately. And because you've had spiritual growth, I feel like trust your intuition. A nine, well, we're in a personal, or we're in a universal year nine, the last year of a 9-year cycle. So, even more important to examine what we need to examine, to understand what we need to understand so that we can let the past be the past. Your signs are sent in the present moment. But listen, this is fulfillment of wishes. This is inner harmony. This is beautiful. Look at this, the Ten of Pentacles. So not only do we have the Ten of Cups, now we have the Ten of Pentacles. And I don't feel you're alone in the Ten of Pentacles or the Ten of Cups. These aces are changing that. This nine can certainly talk about singular energy. And maybe it is like the sooner that I can clear the past and find this inner harmony, the sooner the door opens to really what I feel is meant to be next. The soulmates coming out so quickly, all these aces, fulfillment of wishes after the fact. Unfortunately, we can fall in love and someone can, well, I'll be honest, I feel like it's talking about before I was really having this spiritual growth, where my energy is. It reminds me of like our younger years, the things that I accepted in my 20s. Now I would never accept. Why? Because now I know. And I've learned how to read energy, and I trust that. Ten of Pentacles, it's the house of abundance, but to me, it's a house that takes root, like deep roots. And here we're seeing actual roots. Two people nurturing that seed, and it's a pentacle, turns into the Ten of Pentacles. This sense of finding this inner harmony. And by the way, the inner harmony doesn't mean that my life is perfect. It just means that I have learned, even in chaotic energy, how to center myself. I can't control other people, but the one thing I can control is myself. And when I say me, I mean you. I'm just you right now. Queen of Cups, there you are. Look what she's holding in her hand. Cup. It's interesting because I just did what I called a fool's poem, and it was talking about the fool of the tarot. Um, and part of it was about the little doggy who is that loyal best friend. But I also feel like this is your spirit guide, always with you. Some of you, I do feel, I don't know why it feels all of a sudden, but I feel you have pets that have crossed over who are still with you. It's interesting. Oh, there's two of them. I didn't even see that. When I look at this, it looked like this dog was like biting at the queen's dress. He's not. Almost like trying to get your attention. So I feel like I was meant to see that, but that's not actually what it's showing. Another reason why I really trust my intuition. So here's that cup. Here's that cup. You're holding it. And when I lay it down, it's looking towards the future. Did you love? I definitely feel the answer is yes. And you know why? Because I feel like your soulmate can feel your energy. And potentially you can feel theirs. Though, if you're in a self created prison, you probably can't. But if you free yourself, then I feel like you'll feel this. I do get this sense of love at first sight. Look at that 9 to the 10. So this could be happening soon. Even Mother Mary is saying this is action time. Ace of Pentacles coming into your physical world. The Chariot, the balance of the feminine and the masculine. The Ten of Pentacles, a house that takes root. Ten of Cups, a house of love and harmony. But I have to love myself first. I have to know that I'm deserving of it. And you are. I have to know that these past people or person who broke my heart, it feels more like they have an issue, not you. They have an issue. You know, it could be someone who just hasn't matured where you have. I feel like your guides really want you to understand that the clearing of this past energy is so important. Is it a necessity? Will it stop it? No. But it will be your response to it. So if you can find this inner harmony, I feel like that's just a symbol to the universe. I am ready. I am open. Some of you, October, maybe September, even though September is just about over. Okay, well, let's keep going. So, divine's energy that's supporting this union, material and financial changes. Okay, first thing I feel is there have been, well, love that, we look at it from an earthly plane or our human mind as like, what's wrong with me? Or that type of thing. Where divine, it feels like is saying, I put that resistance there because this was not this true soulmate. And change, number 5. And I get this sense that your soul was here to create, to love, yes. But I also feel the importance of like creating my own life, being, I'm not going to say financially rich, but let's just say where I'm doing my thing. And I feel like it's bringing you a sense of comfort. So change is what divine is saying right now. Look at this, another 5. And then look at this, the Ace of Swords. So 2 5s. Okay, let's talk about the 5 of Wands. Drama, fighting. It's mirroring the 8 of Swords right now. And I get why I would, think I need to build these walls. This is the type of drama where no one wants to back down. Like, I want to be right. They want to be right. Or could look at it a different way. Like, I want someone to take responsibility for their actions. But I don't feel like you find it in the 5 of Wands. Quite the opposite. This means that someone, and I do feel like this is past, like a past relationship. I feel like there was a lot of ego involved. Listen, I feel like divine has put resistance in your life to help you. Though I know some like, why? Why would they do that? Because sometimes our free will keep us in that 8 of Swords. And that is not what our soul is here for, right? Think about that. Like, your soul came down into this lifetime to learn, to grow, to have adventures, and not everything is going to work out. That's just life. But sometimes the hardest lessons is really what teaches us the most. For some of you, it's what causes the beginning of a spiritual awakening. So I feel like what this is saying is sometimes we just have to be okay with not hearing what it is we want to hear. But I definitely feel like you were dealing with someone who had a lot of ego. A lot of ego. And I feel like their communication style truly feels heartbreaking. And, it's interesting that sometimes we try to keep something together, even though we know it's just not right, right? I'm not getting the respect I deserve. So I have to take physical action. And I feel like divine is just simply saying, if you understand that, that you may have closed yourself down due to someone who, number one, just has a lot of ego, like my way or the highway. Well, I would take the highway. I would definitely take the highway because I really want you to notice the energy that's coming towards you. And this is why divine is sending out these fives, right? Without this change. And I feel like the change is putting down the walls and trusting more in your intuition. All right, let's go ahead and bring in the major arcanas. And I'm going to shuffle for these. I'm going to bring this down a little bit more and see what is connecting the two of you. I love right now we have the Ace of Pentacles right in the middle of the reading with your major arcana right above it. And I do feel it's going to take both to nurture the seed that's going to blossom into true love. But one can't do it on their own. Look at that. Hello, lovers. Now, first of all, card of Gemini. The meaning is a head over heart decision. I get that because it's mirroring the Eight of Swords now. But this is about chemistry and the angel's influence over these lovers. It's like you're being supported by heaven itself. We have the death card, card of Scorpio. This is endings. This is closing doors, but these are doors that you have to close. Death is about, doesn't say it here, but a lot of times you'll see death slash rebirth. And what that means is another door will always open. When something has come to completion, we just have to know that. Be like, okay, this is done, right? I've got to let it go. And that literally opens up the next door. It's okay to take your time. It's perfectly fine. And the death card is mirroring the Three of Swords. Wow. I'm happy to let that go if I can let that go. And I feel like you can if you really examine. Like if I look, like who caused me heartache? I have a feeling you'll be able to break it down to a point where you may say, thank God I didn't dedicate my whole life to this. Sometimes we have to take some bold actions. Like, let's say some of you are maybe in a relationship, but it definitely wouldn't be going well. Do I want to continue? And with all these fives, change may be hard for some of you. Change is hard for a lot of people. But what if this is good change? Good trouble. Romantic. Really everything. This is about a rebirth of love in your life. And even divine bringing out the Ace of Swords, where we have the Ace of Swords right here. And this is under you. That is divine support. All right, let's go ahead and see if we get one more card. So of course, every time I ask for one card, I get more. Exactly. But we are definitely going to take them. Oh, look at this. The sun. Your illuminator. A brand new day, and it's following the death card. So this is the door that is opening. Number one, the sun gives you a sense of comfort, because if anything is done in the dark, it will come to the light. You will know it. I don't think has anything to do about darkness. I feel like that's what was. This is unencumbered energy. By the way, look at the twins. And we opened up with an 11. And then we have, okay, wow. Hello, Will. This is your destiny. So this love is destined. You know, that probably means that these seeds were planted before you came into this lifetime. That you and your soulmate made an agreement to come together in this lifetime. You've probably lived past lives together, you have. But that doesn't mean that you've always said, let's come together. You may have come together as best friends in a past life. But it definitely represents knowing each other. This person is spinning the wheel and they have a blindfold on. So they're trusting in blind faith. But the sun is there to comfort. Like the sun is at your back. The sun is mirroring the lovers, as is the wheel. And then look at this. Well, you want to talk about growth. So the Empress, number 3. Well, the other number 3 we have is the 3 of Swords, the heartache, the loss. This talks about how you have grown. The Empress is sitting with this beautiful bounty on her lap. You know, what has the Empress learned? To keep my heart open. Listen, you are naturally empathetic, compassionate, and loving. And yes, some people take advantage of that. But when you reach the Empress's status, which we all have within us, and let me explain what I mean by that. The Empress has gone through all the Queen's energies. That means the good and the bad. But this is someone who really trusts within divine. You know, the Empress, as we all are, is receiving epiphanies, signs. But the Empress knows it. Why? How can she know that? Because she's cleared the past. She lives in the present moment. And she trusts within divine. She just knows. She's the mother figure, the nurturer. And that is definitely you. But you know, when we carry that energy, yes, some people take advantage of that. But when you become stronger within yourself, like this inner harmony and the Empress, they go perfect together. And because we're seeing the Empress, I know the other lover, the other soulmate, must also be of this vibration, like the Emperor. And I'm not talking about Aries, I'm just talking about the matching energy to the Empress. They're different, but they had the same morals, the same goal. Well, I shouldn't say the same goals. Um, Boy, there is a lot of abundance on this table. So I love that the sun, your destiny, and then the Empress. I guess another way we could look at this is if we remember again that our souls came down here for these adventures and, the hardships, our soul knew. Well, I shouldn't say knew, but I do feel like our soul asked for it. I've been getting a lot of life path 33s, and that's the energy of pure love, pure tone. And we have the 33. Now, it doesn't have to mean that you're a life path 33, a master 33. By the way, a master number 33, I feel like chances are this is your last time of reincarnating because you don't need to. Because the Empress is like, I've learned. I understand it now, right? I get what life is teaching me. And now you become the teacher. It's like the student has now become the teacher. And all this energy, the sun, the wheel, and the Empress, is mirroring the Ten of Cups. Now that fits. That fits. All right, let's look at the bottom of the deck. Wow, oh my God. Cancer, the Emperor, the Empress. Meant to be lovers. Wow. Just wow. Right next to that Ten of Cups. High vibrational energy. What I love about the Emperor and the Empress is they both care about their fellow man and woman. If they can help another, that is their payback. It's not about, I'm not saying like, let's say you have a healing business that you shouldn't make money, but it's the way that it makes you feel. Like that's how I feel. If I know that I could help, it's interesting. Sam and I had a talk the other day, and I said, part of my goal um, is to help younger women and men who, that's just a period of time where we accept really lower vibrational energy. We're learning. But if I can help anyone understand the difference, right? Like what I accept now in my life versus what I accepted back then, night and day. I just love that the Emperor showed up. All right. Movement, choices, decisions. Mirroring the death card. Will she or won't she? Will he or won't he? Hmm. You're probably feeling the energy of the death card. And what I mean about that, the death card's about transformation. But this is definitely showing the transformation. It's like darkness over here, but this is all light. And even for those who have lost someone, I'm telling you, I feel like they are sending you in a soulmate. They're sending you in a soulmate. I say they're sending in, but then again, I also feel like this is just divine timing. All right, what's on the bottom of this? The Nine of Pentacles. Now, you take that Nine of Pentacles, add the Ace of Pentacles, that brings us to the Ten of Pentacles. Even if you take the Nine of Cups, and then the Queen is holding a cup, that brings us to the Ten of Cups. So the Nine of Pentacles, number one, it may talk about like you finding this independence within yourself. You know, when I say there wasn't wasted time, yes, I may have closed my heart down, you know, said no, like I'm not interested in love, and poured your energy into a business. And this is showing the success. That's literally what this means, successful self-employment. No, I don't feel like it has to be self-employment, but you are the benefactor of this because it is your work. And, you know, this is a card of Virgo, and it's mirroring the Lovers, and both of them, which is a card of Gemini, and both of them share Mercury. And you have two Aces of Swords. It's almost like I feel like I don't need to clarify, but I know some of you want me to. I feel like this just came out in such a beautiful way. Mother Mary opening it with the energy of action. You in the energy of making a decision, of movement. And it may be simply whether to step upon that path. And I feel like that's all you have to do is just step on the path, and the rest will take care of itself. You know, let the energy flow. You can always slow it down. But again, I get this sense of love at first sight, or even love, you know, coming across the lines, like communication lines, like the voice. Someone's voice will resonate with you. All right. I will bring out the Cosmic Tarot. I don't know what I want to look at. Let's give them a cut. And just for anyone who's new, the reason why I cut every deck that I'm going to use, it's to me, it's a symbol to my to my universe, to my guides, that I am ready. It's introducing this deck into an ongoing reading. So, what do I want to look at? I don't even know. So, you know what I'm going to do, Cancer? I'm just going to ask for any other messages that maybe I haven't picked up on. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Because I really don't feel like anything needs clarified. I feel like our guides were like bam, bam, bam. This is why I love this format. Going directly to our guides, asking specific questions, and then getting those answers. So, any other messages for Cancer or those intuitively guided? We have the Nine of Cups again. And then look at this. So, how do I find that inner harmony that the Nine of Cups speaks about? Through the Eight of Cups. This is emotional clarity. You know, some cards call this emotional withdrawal. I feel like this is very bold and proud energy. And I mean, like, your guide's proud of you. It is an eight, so it's allowing yourself to have this new beginning. It means you are putting the past in the past. And that's what opens up this Nine of Cups. Like, don't let someone steal your inner harmony. New beginning, after the fact. This tells me that it is important that we examine at least the last 9 years. I feel like it doesn't have to be 9 years. Like we should be able to look back at our life and see the patterns. Like this Eight of Swords or the Three of Swords, it reminds me of my early years and the people that I just, for some reason, fell in love with. And it didn't work out. But today, I am so thankful it didn't work out because now I'm with my real love. That may not have happened if I would have stayed stuck. So I feel like that's what your spirit guides are saying. There is an opportunity to clear the past here. There's an opportunity to understand it. And sometimes it's simply knowing that the person that I wanted to love me, maybe for whatever reason, was incapable of that. Well, I feel like part of it is because they were not willing to move out of that ego. The emperor and the empress do not live in egotistical type energy. Quite the opposite. I feel like natural healers, I'm pointing at both of them, natural healers, it makes them feel good to help someone else, to help give them a hand up. Both of them have been through it. This is what makes them the emperor and the empress. It's the lessons I have learned. It's the energy that I have let go of. It's the clearing of the past. And both live in the present moment. So this emotional clarity, an eight, we got to go back to that Eight of Swords. I feel like they're connected. When we figure out that, I feel like, boom, you're in the Nine of Cups. Inner harmony, but also fulfillment of wishes. And some of you don't even know that this was your wish. And that's why I asked on a subconscious level or conscious, but all right, anything else? Anything else that wants to come out? Please come out now. Five of Wands again. Connected to that Eight of Cups. I feel like it's saying sometimes we just have to be okay with not getting the resolution that we feel that we need. But I'm telling you, down the road, and when I say down the road, I mean pretty quickly down the road, we start to understand that I didn't need that after all. I don't need them to validate me. And that's probably what you've been learning. All right. One more time around because I don't like to end on a five. We have the moon, heart of Pisces, but this is your ruler. The moon can talk about uncertainties, and that can make some people uncomfortable. But sometimes it's not about the ultimate destination, even though we are seeing it. It's about the dreaminess of the beginning moving forward. This really is dreamy type energy. And in a love reading, that's what I'd want to see. And then we have the King of Wands. So, can be Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. But I got to tie it back to Mother Mary because this is a king of action. This is a king who doesn't let fear get in the way of what it is I want in my life. Hmm. Okay. So I feel like also what divine is saying is this love. I feel like this is someone who is not going to play mind games with you. That doesn't mean that they're going to move quickly, nor do I feel like you're going to move quickly. But I'm not going to leave that off the table either. Because again, I feel like for some of you, it does feel like love at first sight. And it's very dreamy. And not only did your major arcana show up, so did your roller. Some of you, this may happen around a full moon, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's just, let's put it this way. If you can find your way to your Empress's energy, then divine will definitely send in the Emperor's energy, or vice versa, whether you're a male or female. Even same sex relationships. Just look at these people, the Emperor and the Empress, as two people who just carry natural healing abilities, which is you. Two people who definitely care about their fellow man and women, which is you. But now you're finding your match. The Ten of Pentacles also makes sense because these two people can be very successful in their life once they really believe within themselves. And don't forget, the Empress is someone who, like, I wish we had the image where you can see this apple about to hit the Empress on her head. And to me, that's a symbol of an idea, an epiphany, a direction. And she knows that. She knows the divine is working on her behalf. The emperor knows the divine is working on his behalf. I feel like not only does this feel, we have two nines of cups. So this inner harmony, I feel like it's for both. The fulfillment of wishes is for both. But even I feel like, well, I always feel the emperor and the empress would be great at collaborating together. And if nothing else, this is someone that I can feed ideas off of and vice versa. And they get it. You know what I mean? Like they get it. So we can be of great help to each other, even beyond the love. Wow. Okay. Let's pick this up and let's bring out the romance angels. Cancer, I feel like you have one of the clearest readings and the clearest of messages. Whether whether you choose to accept it or not, of course, is up to you. That is free will. Do I feel like divine wishes sometimes we don't have free will? Sometimes I feel like, I shouldn't say that because free will is important. But sometimes our free will can get in between, you know, what wants to be. All right. Romance angels. Oh, new love. New love. A new person has stirred your romantic feelings. Interesting. A new person. Now, listen, I'm not going to say that this can't be someone of the past, but not this person. And if this energy, and what I mean is whoever caused this Eight of Swords, I'm not going to say that there can't be growth, but I feel like Divine is telling you there isn't going to be growth, that they're always going to live within their ego. It's always going to be their way or the highway. And chances are, they may have other relationships, but I feel like then they will find the same issues. But in a way, I feel like they don't care. Well, if you don't care, then I don't care. Right? If you can't love me, well, I know that I'm lovable. And so do they. This new love. Someone has stirred your romantic feelings. And then look at this. Romantic feelings. Look at the image. Mm-mm-mm. Kissing. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. No wonder we got the Ace of Swords twice. Heart to heart conversations. Honestly discuss your feelings with each other. I could see a conversation taking place where, let's say this person comes in, you're still in the hangman, like, I don't know, I don't know. I could see you talking for hours. I could see you bringing up the past, kind of like telling them, this is why I've shut my heart down. But I feel like they are going to open that heart again. And you may be doing the same for them, by the way. All right, let's see if anything else wants to come out. And then we will, this could be the one. You've already met the romantic partner you seek. So that's interesting because we have new love, right? So to me, this is talking about past life love. And I do feel like soulmates or twin flames have had past lives for sure. Again, not all of them were meant for us to come together romantically. Some, it was about, you know, creating a good financial life for themselves or what have you. But I feel, because it says new love, though I won't leave it off the table that this could potentially be someone that you haven't even considered. It's not this over here. I want to make that clear. Because I do get a lot of comments saying there's no way I'd let that asshole back. And I get it. But that is not what I'm talking about. That's exactly what needs to be let go. Let it fade away. And that's what opens you up to all these beautiful blessings. You have so much abundance in this reading, financially, but love. Love of the highest nature, by the way. When the Emperor and the Empress come together in a love reading, and they're literally mirroring each other, and the Empress is mirroring the lovers. Well, now we know who that other lover is. Even the soulmates are in the same line as the Emperor and the Empress. And let's not forget the wheel. This is your destiny. This was destined. To me, probably pre-planned. Seeds that were planted before we came into this lifetime. And sometimes the adventure of that is to see if we can find each other again. Blind faith. But the sun is your illuminator. The sun. It's a brand new day. Playfulness. Joy. Kid-like. Right? Bringing out that inner child and allowing it to play. Allowing it to explore. Just how I noticed the two of them here kissing. There's something very romantic about that. I mean, it literally says romantic feelings, but I feel the connection. Like that kiss, I feel like it's going to send an electrical shock through both of your bodies. And I'm going to let that be. I'm going to let that be. I feel like there's no sense of trying to clarify it anymore. I feel like our guides were very generous in being very open to our questions, and I thank them, and I thank you. I love you guys. I thank you. I pray. I pray. Number one, that those walls come down. And number two, that when this love comes in, that you feel it. And I have a feeling you're going to feel it in the fiber of your bones. Everything is telling me, like I feel electricity. And then you'll understand why something else didn't work out. And that is our human nature, right? Like, oh, this person didn't love me, then I'm unlovable. Well, that is not true. Look at the source that it was coming from. The emperor wouldn't say that to you, and the empress wouldn't say that to the emperor. So, I'm still talking. All right, I'm going to let that be. I thank you guys. I love you. I am putting out my prayers for you. And my main prayer is that you just remain open to the possibilities, because love happens in the most unexpected of ways. And that's just the way it is. All right, guys. I will see you next time at my table. I loved your reading. I cannot wait to read your comments. And again, I want to be clear, because I get comments all the time of people saying there's no way in hell I'm taking someone back. Well, that's exactly what Divine is saying to you. Don't take them back. It's not about taking back lower vibrational energy. It's about allowing higher vibrational energy to come in. But I also want to be of that energy. I want to trust my intuition. I want to trust my guides. One more thing I want to say or remind you of. When you came down into this lifetime, you have a whole spiritual team that was assigned to just you. Just you. And their job is to help guide you through this lifetime. It's our humanness that gets stuck. But our soul wants to have these adventures, even these hard lessons, because our soul is looking for this growth. And it makes sense that as you are evolving, so does your love life. So does your life. But this is about love. So, okay, I'm going to stop talking now for real. I love you guys. I thank you. I'll see you next time at our table. Bye-bye.